Welcome to the part 2 of the story. We are excited to continue. If you have not had a chance to watch the part 1 of the story yet, be sure to click the link in the description below to catch up. Let us continue our story. In the aftermath of Maya's powerful revelation, the atmosphere in the Apex Solutions boardroom was thick with tension. The executives sat around the long table, their faces pale and their voices low as they debated what had just unfolded. The room was filled with a mix of disbelief and fear, each executive grappling with the reality that their old ways of operating were crumbling. Before we continue with the story, you should comment where you are watching from. If you are enjoying this story, do not forget to hit that subscribe button. We have another episode for you tomorrow. David Carter, once the confident CEO, felt the weight of uncertainty pressing down on him. He glanced around at his colleagues, each one reflecting a different shade of panic. They had always looked down on Maya, dismissing her as just a janitor. Now, she was not only a majority stakeholder, but also a powerful leader with the support of the entire workforce. The executives exchanged heated whispers, trying to understand how they had let this happen. Some argued that they needed to unite against Maya, while others realized that such arrogance would only lead to further disaster. They had underestimated her strength and intelligence, and now they were paying the price. David tried to regain control of the conversation, insisting that they needed to act quickly to undermine Maya's influence. He proposed strategies to discredit her and maintain their power. However, his words fell flat as his colleagues hesitated. They were beginning to see that Maya's vision for change resonated with many employees who had felt ignored for far too long. As discussions continued, it became clear that not everyone was on David's side. Some executives began to voice their support for Maya's ideas, recognizing that embracing change might be the only way forward for Apex Solutions. They pointed out that her approach could lead to greater innovation and success for the company. This division among the executives only heightened the tension in the room. David's frustration grew as he realized he was losing control not just over his colleagues, but over the company itself. The fear of being left behind in a rapidly changing world began to seep into their minds. Outside the boardroom, employees buzzed with excitement about the future. News of Maya's bold stand had spread quickly throughout Apex Solutions. Many felt empowered and hopeful for the first time in years. They discussed how they could support Maya's vision and contribute to creating a more inclusive workplace. Back in the boardroom, David slammed his fist on the table, demanding loyalty from his fellow executives. But his desperation only fueled their doubts about his leadership. They were beginning to question whether sticking with him was worth it if it meant opposing what many employees clearly wanted, a culture of respect and collaboration. As the debate raged on, it became evident that a shift in power was underway at Apex Solutions. The executives who once held all authority were now faced with an uncomfortable truth: they could either adapt to this new reality or risk losing everything they had worked for. Maya's name echoed through the room as they discussed her plans for change, the mentorship programs, inclusive policies, and opportunities for every employee to have a voice in decision-making processes. The more they talked about her vision, the more appealing it became to some who had previously dismissed her. The meeting dragged on as tensions flared and alliances began to shift. David felt increasingly isolated as he fought to maintain his grip on power, while others considered aligning themselves with Maya instead. In this moment of turmoil, it became clear that Apex Solutions was at a crossroads. The outcome of this internal struggle would determine not only David's fate but also the future direction of the company itself. As discussions continued late into the evening, one thing was certain: change was coming to Apex Solutions, and there would be no turning back. The executives were left grappling with their choices as they faced an uncertain future, one where 𝗟𝗡𝗦𝗦𝗦𝗢 had emerged as a formidable force ready to reshape everything they thought they knew about leadership and respect in the workplace. As the dust settled from the chaotic boardroom meeting, 𝗟𝗡𝗦 stepped outside, her heart still racing from the whirlwind of emotions. She had faced the executives and stood her ground, but now she needed a moment to breathe. Just then, Olivia Martinez approached her, a bright smile on her face. Olivia had been watching 𝗟𝗡𝗦's journey unfold from the sidelines. She admired 𝗟𝗦's courage and strength, and now she felt compelled to express her feelings. As she reached 𝗟𝗡𝗦, Olivia's excitement was palpable. She told 𝗟𝗡𝗦 how inspired she was by her speech and how it had ignited a fire within her as well. 𝗟𝗡𝗦 smiled back, feeling a warmth spread through her at Olivia's words. They began to talk, sharing their experiences as women navigating a male-dominated workplace. Olivia spoke about the challenges she faced in marketing, where her ideas were often overlooked or dismissed simply because of her gender. 𝗟𝗦𝗦 nodded in understanding, recalling her own struggles as a janitor who was often seen as invisible. As they continued their conversation, they discovered even more common ground. Both women had faced moments of doubt and frustration in their careers but had always pushed through. They shared stories of times when they felt underestimated and how those experiences fueled their determination to succeed. 𝗟𝗦𝗦 felt a connection with Olivia that she hadn't expected. Here was someone who understood the weight of being overlooked and disrespected in a corporate environment. They bonded over their shared resolve to create change, not just for themselves, but for other women and marginalized voices within the company. Olivia expressed her eagerness to learn from 𝗟𝗦𝗦, to understand how she could contribute to the new vision for Apex Solutions. She wanted to be part of this transformation and help foster an environment where everyone felt valued. 𝗟𝗦𝗦 felt a surge of pride at Olivia's enthusiasm. It reminded her that there were others ready to stand up for what was right. Together, they began to brainstorm ideas on how they could support each other and advocate for change within Apex Solutions. They talked about organizing meetings where employees could voice their concerns and share their ideas freely. They envisioned creating mentorship programs that would empower younger employees and help them grow in their careers. As they spoke, 𝗟𝗦𝗦 realized that this was not just about her journey anymore, it was about building a community of support among women and allies within the company. The more they discussed their plans, the more excited they became about the possibilities ahead. 𝗟𝗦𝗦 felt invigorated by this new partnership with Olivia. She knew that together they could make a significant impact at Apex Solutions. As they wrapped up their conversation, both women exchanged contact information and promised to meet again soon to continue planning. With renewed energy, 𝗟𝗦𝗦 walked away feeling hopeful about the future. She understood that real change required collaboration and support from others who shared her vision. This bond with Olivia marked the beginning of a new chapter, not just for herself but for all those who had ever felt marginalized in their workplace. As days passed, 𝗟𝗦𝗦 and Olivia worked diligently to engage more employees in their mission for change. They organized informal gatherings where people could come together to share their experiences and ideas without fear of judgment. The response was overwhelming, and many employees expressed gratitude for having a safe space to voice their thoughts. 𝗏 felt empowered as she witnessed the growing camaraderie among her colleagues. The shift in power was not just happening at the top levels of management, it was spreading throughout the entire company as employees began to unite behind a common cause. The momentum was building, and it became clear that Apex Solutions was on the brink of something transformative, a movement led by those who had once been silenced, but were now ready to reclaim their voices and demand respect. 𝗏 knew that this was only the beginning of their journey together. With Olivia by her side and a growing network of supporters behind them, she felt ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead in this new chapter at Apex Solutions. Change was coming, and it would be powerful. With a renewed sense of purpose, 𝗏 set out to implement changes within Apex Solutions. She knew that transforming the company's toxic culture would not be easy, but she was determined to make a difference. Her first step was to gather a team of like-minded employees who shared her vision for a respectful and inclusive workplace. 𝗏 organized meetings where employees could openly discuss their experiences and share ideas for improvement. The room buzzed with energy as people spoke about the challenges they faced, from feeling ignored in meetings to being dismissed because of their roles. 𝗏 listened intently, taking notes and encouraging everyone to voice their thoughts. It was clear that many had longed for this opportunity to be heard. As she worked on these initiatives, flashbacks filled 𝗏's mind, reminding her of why this change was so important. She thought back to her early days at Apex Solutions when she first started as a janitor. She remembered the way executives would walk past her without a glance, their laughter echoing as they made jokes at her expense. Those moments had hurt deeply and had fueled her desire to rise above her circumstances. 𝗏 recalled the countless nights spent studying and dreaming of a better future. She remembered the sacrifices she made to save money for her education while juggling multiple jobs. Each challenge she faced only strengthened her resolve to succeed and help others like her. The memories of her childhood also played a significant role in motivating her. Growing up in a neighborhood where opportunities were scarce taught her the value of hard work and perseverance. She had seen friends and family struggle against unfair systems, and she vowed that one day she would fight against such injustices. As 𝗏 implemented changes, she focused on creating programs that would empower employees at all levels. She introduced mentorship initiatives where experienced workers could guide newcomers, helping them navigate their careers and feel valued. She also pushed for training sessions that emphasized teamwork and collaboration, breaking down the barriers that had previously divided departments. 𝗏's efforts began to bear fruit as more employees joined the movement for change. They were eager to participate in workshops and training sessions, excited about the prospect of working in an environment where respect was paramount. The camaraderie among colleagues grew stronger as they united behind 𝗏's vision. However, not everyone welcomed these changes. Some executives resisted 𝗏's initiatives, clinging to the old ways of doing things. They were uncomfortable with the idea of sharing power and allowing employees to have a voice in decision-making processes. David Carter, still reeling from his loss of control, began to strategize ways to undermine 𝗏's influence. Despite this opposition, 𝗏 remained steadfast in her mission. She knew that reforming Apex Solutions would take time and persistence. Each small victory fueled her determination to keep pushing forward. As she continued to work on these changes, 𝗧𝗧 often reflected on her journey and the obstacles she had overcome. The memories served as reminders of why she fought so fiercely for respect and equality within the workplace. With every meeting held and every new program introduced, 𝗧𝗧 felt a sense of empowerment growing within herself and among her colleagues. They were no longer just employees, they were part of a movement striving for something greater, a workplace where everyone could thrive without fear of being overlooked or disrespected. The shift in power was palpable as more employees began to stand up for themselves and support one another. 𝗧𝗧 knew that this was just the beginning of a long journey toward meaningful change at Apex Solutions. But with each passing day, hope blossomed among those who had once felt powerless, and together they were ready to confront whatever challenges lay ahead. As the next board meeting approached, tensions were high at Apex Solutions. The atmosphere was thick with anticipation, and everyone could feel the weight of what was about to unfold. 𝗧𝗧 knew this meeting would be crucial in solidifying her authority and pushing for the changes she envisioned. When the executives gathered around the long table, David Carter sat at the head, his demeanor tense. He had been preparing to undermine 𝗧𝗧's influence, determined to regain control of the company he once ruled without question. But 𝗧𝗧 was ready. She had gathered her thoughts and prepared to confront him about his past behavior. As the meeting began, David launched into his usual presentation, attempting to steer the conversation back to corporate strategies and profits. But 𝗧𝗧 raised her hand, signaling that she wanted to speak. The room fell silent as all eyes turned to her. 𝗧𝗧 stood up, her heart pounding but her resolve strong. She addressed the room, reminding everyone of the toxic culture that had plagued Apex Solutions for far too long. She spoke about how David's dismissive attitude towards employees had created an environment where people felt afraid to speak up. Her words resonated with many in the room, who nodded in agreement. David shifted uncomfortably in his seat, trying to regain control of the narrative. He attempted to dismiss 𝗧𝗧's concerns, claiming that they were exaggerations and that he had always valued his employees. But 𝗧𝗧 was unfazed. She had seen firsthand how he treated those beneath him and was determined to hold him accountable. With each passing moment, 𝗧𝗧's confidence grew. She recounted specific instances of David's behavior, how he had laughed at employees' ideas and belittled their contributions during meetings. She emphasized that this kind of leadership was no longer acceptable and that it was time for a change. David tried to interrupt her, attempting to undermine her authority by questioning her qualifications and experience. He believed that by attacking her credibility, he could regain the upper hand. But 𝗧𝗧 stood firm, refusing to be swayed by his tactics. The tension in the room escalated as employees began to rally behind 𝗧𝗧. They could sense that this confrontation was not just about one person, it was about changing the culture of Apex Solutions for good. Whispers of support spread throughout the room as colleagues exchanged glances filled with encouragement. 𝗧𝗧 pressed on, detailing her vision for a more inclusive workplace where everyone's voice mattered. She highlighted how important it was for leaders to empower their teams rather than intimidate them. The executives who had once supported David began to shift uncomfortably in their seats, realizing that they could no longer ignore the truth. As David struggled to regain control, it became clear that his attempts were failing dramatically. His arrogance was crumbling under the weight of 𝗧𝗧's conviction and the support of their colleagues. The tide had turned against him, and he could feel it. 𝗧𝗧 concluded her speech with a powerful statement about leadership being a responsibility rather than a privilege. She urged everyone in the room to reflect on what kind of leaders they wanted to be, those who uplifted others or those who held them down. Silence enveloped the room as 𝗧𝗧 finished speaking. The executives were left stunned, grappling with the reality that their old ways were no longer acceptable. David's face flushed with anger and embarrassment as he realized he had underestimated 𝗧𝗧's strength and determination. In that moment, it became clear that a shift in power was not just happening within Apex Solutions, it was happening within each individual present in that room. Employees were beginning to reclaim their voices and stand up against disrespectful leadership. The board meeting ended not with David's usual authority, but with a sense of hope and empowerment among those who had once felt powerless. As everyone filed out, 𝗧𝗧 felt a surge of pride wash over her. She had confronted David head-on and emerged victorious in this battle for respect and change. The climax of this confrontation marked a turning point for Apex Solutions, a moment when employees united behind a common cause and began to reshape their workplace culture together. With each step forward, they were ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead in their journey toward transformation and equality within the company. As the dust settled from the intense board meeting, 𝗧𝗧 felt a wave of relief and excitement wash over her. The atmosphere in the office had shifted dramatically, and she could sense a newfound energy among her colleagues. They were buzzing with conversations about the changes they wanted to see at Apex Solutions. In the days that followed, 𝗧𝗧 continued to lead discussions and workshops aimed at fostering a more inclusive environment. She encouraged employees to share their ideas and experiences openly, creating a safe space for everyone to express themselves. The camaraderie among her colleagues grew stronger, and it felt like they were all part of something significant. During one of these workshops, 𝗧𝗧 decided to inject a bit of humor into the serious conversation about corporate culture. She wanted to emphasize the importance of cleaning up not just physical spaces, but also the toxic attitudes that had lingered for too long. With a playful smile, she held up a bottle of cleaning spray that someone had left on the table. 𝗧𝗧 looked around the room, her eyes sparkling with mischief as she said that if they were going to clean up the corporate culture, they might as well start with some good old-fashioned disinfectant. The room erupted in laughter as employees appreciated her light-hearted approach to such an important topic. She continued, playfully suggesting that if they could scrub away negativity and polish up respect, they would create a workplace where everyone felt valued. Her analogy resonated with her colleagues, who were eager to embrace this new mindset. 𝗧𝗧's humor broke down any remaining barriers, allowing everyone to engage more freely in the conversation. They began brainstorming ways to implement policies that would promote respect and collaboration. Ideas flowed like water as people felt empowered to contribute. As the laughter subsided, 𝗧𝗧 reminded everyone that while humor was essential in creating a positive atmosphere, the work ahead was serious. She emphasized that cleaning up their corporate culture would require commitment and effort from everyone involved. But with each shared laugh and idea, it became evident that they were ready to tackle this challenge together. The humorous moment served as a catalyst for deeper discussions about accountability and respect within the workplace. Employees began sharing personal stories about how they had been treated in the past and how they envisioned a better future for themselves and their colleagues. 𝗧𝗧 felt invigorated by this exchange of ideas and experiences. The laughter had not only lightened the mood, but had also strengthened their resolve to make meaningful changes at Apex Solutions. It was clear that they were all in this together, united by a common goal. As the workshop came to an end, Maya left feeling hopeful about what lay ahead. The combination of humor and serious discussion had created an environment where everyone felt empowered to contribute to the transformation of their workplace culture. With each passing day, Maya saw more employees stepping up to take ownership of their roles in this movement. They were no longer just workers, they were advocates for change, ready to clean up not just their office, but also the very foundation of how Apex Solutions operated. The shift in power was becoming more evident as employees embraced their voices and began demanding respect. Maya knew that this was just one step in a long journey toward meaningful change, but with laughter and determination on their side, she felt confident that they could achieve greatness together. As the days turned into weeks, Maya felt the momentum building within Apex Solutions. Employees were actively participating in discussions and initiatives aimed at transforming the workplace culture. The shift in power was palpable, and Maya's leadership role was becoming increasingly solidified. She was no longer just a janitor, she was a respected leader, and her colleagues looked to her for guidance and inspiration. Meanwhile, David Carter was in a state of panic. He watched as his authority crumbled with each passing day. The executives who once supported him were now aligning with Maya, recognizing her vision for a more inclusive workplace. David felt isolated and desperate to regain control over the company he had once dominated. Frantic, David began to devise a plan to undermine Maya's influence. He held secret meetings with a few loyalists, brainstorming ways to discredit her and reclaim his position. He spread rumors about her leadership style, hoping to sow doubt among employees who had begun to embrace her vision. But no matter how hard he tried, he could not shake the growing support for Maya. As Maya continued to implement changes, she focused on building trust among her colleagues. She organized team-building activities and encouraged open communication, fostering an environment where everyone felt valued. The more she connected with her team, the more they rallied around her. One afternoon, while reviewing feedback from employees about the new initiatives, Maya received an anonymous message that made her heart race. The note contained a threat regarding her leadership position at Apex Solutions. It warned her to back down or face serious consequences. Maya's mind raced as she processed the message. Who could have sent it? Was it David or one of his loyal supporters trying to intimidate her? The threat shook her, but deep down, she knew she couldn't let fear dictate her actions. She had worked too hard to let anyone take away her voice or undermine the progress they had made together. Instead of succumbing to fear, Maya decided to confront this challenge head-on. She shared the threat with Olivia and a few trusted colleagues, seeking their support as they navigated this new obstacle together. They discussed strategies for addressing the situation while continuing to push for change within the company. As they brainstormed ideas, Maya felt a renewed sense of determination. She realized that this threat was not just aimed at her, it was an attack on everything they had fought for as a team. They would not allow intimidation to derail their mission. The atmosphere at Apex Solutions was charged with anticipation as employees became aware of the challenges ahead. They stood united behind Maya, ready to defend their newfound culture of respect and collaboration. As days passed, David's frantic attempts to regain power only fueled Maya's resolve. She knew that she had the support of her colleagues and that together they could overcome any obstacle thrown their way. The tension continued to build as both sides prepared for what lay ahead, a confrontation that would determine the future of Apex Solutions. With each passing moment, it became clear that this battle was far from over. Maya stood at a crossroads, aware that she needed to remain vigilant while also continuing to lead with strength and compassion. The anonymous threat loomed over her like a dark cloud, but she refused to let it overshadow the progress they had made. The chapter ended on a cliffhanger as Maya prepared herself for whatever challenges awaited her. She knew that true leadership meant standing firm in the face of adversity and that she would fight for what was right alongside her team, no matter what it took. The future of Apex Solutions hung in the balance as both David and Maya braced themselves for the next phase of this intense struggle for power and respect within their workplace.